I was going to say, man, that was one hell of an episode of The Masked Singer, but then I realized the sun is literally right into my eye. Let me scooch in a little bit. And also get my shoes on because I'm running a little bit late. So, good morning and happy Thursday, folks. Wow, it feels so weird. I'm actually normally I'd be looking forward to this week's episode of Hot Ones, but there is no episode of Hot Ones. First time in 2025 that's happened. Well, technically it happened in the beginning of 2025, but you understand. First time after a season's ended in 2025. We'll say that. Which, doing some math, summer of 2026, that's when Hot Ones will hit 30 seasons. Well, because 27 is going to be next, and 28 will be the end of this year. 29 will be right now, this time next year, and 30 will be the summer. Huh. Clearly, I mean, pretty much anyone could have said that was by chance, but still, it's pretty cool that it happened that way. But enough about that. Let's talk about my low, my high, my act of kindness. So, let's see. For my low, I would say it got really cold. Like, ridiculously cold. Like, no kidding. There was, like, at one point where we got, like, crazy rain. Like, I think it hailed at one point yesterday. Like, there was literally one post I saw yesterday. I think it was on Facebook where, it's basically like a guy or someone in like their car, like taking a photo of like what it looks like outside. It's like a wooded area with lots of snow. And it was captioned, "Just so you know, Mother Nature, spring isn't supposed to look like this." No, it is not. I mean, I still believe that after this weekend, we'll start getting more consistently good weather. At least that's what I'm hoping at the moment. Let's see. My high was last night's episode of The Masked Singer because, holy cow, it was really, really good. In fact, I think it probably had one of the biggest upsets I've seen so far this year. Really, in terms of who got unmasked. Because, honestly, going in to this episode, because this is the Group C final, I really had no idea, like, who was going to, because all 6 people going into the Lucky 6 is what they're called, that's what I meant. I really thought, like, it was pretty even, but no, it's pretty clear that after last night, if you don't step up your game, you're going to be unmasked. And that's what happened. Before I talk about that, let's talk about my act of kindness, which was I brought in the garbage for my folks. What else did I do? I helped clean and empty the dishwasher. And I also helped out my mom yesterday because she actually had wrist surgery, so I tried to be accommodating for her. Which, I mean, I think I lost count how many surgeries my mom has had because she's had quite a few. I mean, she's doing fine. Again, it's just wrist surgery. But, you know, nothing crazy nothing major for, 2 weeks. Yeah. So let's talk about The Masked Singer, because there is a lot to talk about. Honestly, last night's episode, there was no intro song. There was no, major thing. The only thing we got was like a montage of like everyone who'd been unmasked so far. And we pretty much just got things started with Mad Scientist Monster doing "There's Nothing Holding Me Back" by Shawn Mendes. Now, keep in mind, I'm watching this with my mom. And my mom, unfortunately, doesn't understand that just because, like, Like, it's very clear that some of these contestants that are picking their songs are trying to pick things that technically wouldn't fit in their range. And Mad Scientist Monster was good, but if you heard the original by Shawn Mendes and you heard Mad Scientist Monster, you're going to think, okay, that's just okay at best. But for what Mad Scientist Monster was able to do, was impressive. And that's what it was like all night. You know, Nessie did Stargazing by Miles Smith. Coral, who was actually one of my favorites going into tonight, did Ain't It Fun by Paramore. Paparazzo did, that was weird. Paparazzo did Unpretty by TLC, which was actually the major. That was actually one thing they were doing last night. Like, they had like a spoiler alert clue saying who for sure that they're not, and then like a colossal clue. And the colossal clue for Paparazzo, well, one of them, was the song Unpretty by TLC. Pearl then did Conga by Gloria Estefan, the Sound Machine, which at that time not only was my mom's favorite song of the night, but I'm like, okay, like, because going in, I knew that Coral and Pearl were going to be like probably the two best singers for at least this episode. And if the episode ended after Pearl performed, then I'd be correct. But then came a fella by the name of Boogie Woogie. Now, I remember Boogie Woogie being good during all the Group B performances. And for all intents and purposes, I remember thinking, okay, yeah, Boogie Woogie, he deserved to be in the Lucky Six. But the minute he started doing Unsteady by X Ambassadors, like, my mom's reaction was like, what? Like, that was my mom's reaction. And I just started laughing because I completely forgot how good Boogie Woogie was. That's like, you know what? The good folks behind The Masked Singer are shrewd operators, because the format they have, if you couldn't tell, they do all of Group A, all of Group B, and all of Group C. In the midst of, you know, going to each group, you kind of forget what the previous group does. And that's why I forgot how good Boogie Woogie was. But my mom is freaking out just how good Boogie Woogie's performance was. And meanwhile, I'm just laughing. I mean, how can I not laugh at this? Because, like, my mom completely convinced that Pearl was gonna probably be the one to win it all after she did Conga, again by Gloria Estefan. And I was inclined to believe her. Again, I wouldn't count Coral out either. In fact, again, I still think Coral and Pearl are going to be in the final three. Probably even the final two. But Boogie Woogie will not make it easy for both of them. No, he will not. I'm pretty sure it's at this point, you can pretty much tell if it's a guy or a girl underneath the mask. And, I mean, this isn't like not to sound all political or anything, but this isn't one of those shows where, like, oh, you know, she's a guy, but she identifies as a man. Like, no. At this point, it's always been pretty much like, if you're a guy singer, we can tell you're a guy. And if you're a girl singer, we can tell you're a girl. I mean, sometimes the costumes, you know, are a dead giveaway. Especially, again, for Coral and Pearl. But, whew! Man, I tell you what, last night was the hardest I laughed in a good while. Solely at my mom's reaction how good Boogie Woogie was. Again, like, You know what? Coral, Pearl, and Boogie Woogie. Right now, I'm thinking they're going to be the final three. Speaking of which, somebody had to be unmasked last night. And remember how I said earlier that going into this episode, I really couldn't think who was going to win because everyone seemed pretty even going in. Like, one contestant was the reason why I thought that, and that was Paparazzo. And his performance of Unpretty by TLC was phenomenal. But as I said earlier, if you don't step your game up, you're going to be unmasked. And as good as Paparazzo's performance was, every other performance was just better, comparatively. So Paparazzo got unmasked. And it wound up being Matthew Lawrence of Boy Meets World fame, which, actually, hold on. Hold on. Right, so, the colossal clue that Paparazzo had, I want to make sure I have the name right, was Danielle Fishel, Topanga, just shows up. That was the colossal clue. And, yeah, it was somebody from Boy Meets. I mean, kudos to Ken Jeong, because I actually was thinking the same boat he was. I actually kind of did think it was going to be Ben Savage. But no, it was Matthew Lawrence, who actually briefly dated Danielle Fishel. So, that was cool. So, props to Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg for getting her fourth contestant right in terms of who it was underneath the mask. Man, does Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg just know everybody? Because it really does feel like she knows everybody. I mean, last season she literally figured out first it was Boyz II Men who were the Buffaloes. So now, I mean, at this point, well, let's see. Because the judges also, the panel of judges goes for the Golden Ear trophy as well. Right now, Jen has 4, Robin is 3, Rita is 2, and Ken only has 1, right? For the most part, with 5 contestants left, Jenny can almost really not try anymore, and she'd probably win the Golden Ear. Now, here's the thing. Almost. If Robin gets 1 more, then they're tied. So, I'm guessing if Jen wins at least 1 more, I would say it's over. And she's got the Golden Ear. Which, I mean, listen, I'm never good at these sorts of things. I'm not. I couldn't really, once in a while, I'll try and put some effort into thinking, who is underneath the mask. And a couple of times I really thought I had some good guesses. But, the one time I've ever really been right as to who was underneath the mask was in season 9 when the California roll was clearly Pentatonix. How could you hear them sing and not think it's Pentatonix? But that's the only one I think I've ever gotten right. And, wow. It's hard to determine who I think is going to win now. Because, again, I mentioned Coral, Pearl, and Boogie Woogie, but Mad Scientist Monster and Nessie are still here. And they got a lot to show off before this season is over. Which, yeah, is coming up very soon. In fact, I do believe by, hold on. Okay. We've got 2 more Wednesdays in the month of April. By then, it will be down to the final 3. with next week being the quarterfinals being a rather popular theme lately, which is the soundtrack of my life night. If you don't know what that is, basically the contestants are going to pick a song that truly speaks to them in terms of, you know, who they are, or maybe it was a song they heard a lot growing up that they relate to. Like something that, like they hear that song and they feel like yes, this is them. I mean, gosh. Years ago, I tried making a video. Actually, I think it was years ago. I tried making a video on what the soundtrack of my life would be. And it'd be hard. Like, because obviously they're only going to sing one song next week, each contestant. But, like, the soundtrack is like more than one song. And I've got a lot of songs on my soundtrack of my life. But we'll have to wait and see. Overall, I think we're in for a rather nice treat going into, you know, next week. And also, as a reminder, as my short last night kind of indicated, happy Holy Thursday, everyone. It is Holy Thursday, if you don't know. This is actually, like, if you've ever seen artistic depictions of the Last Supper, like, this was the day that it took place, on that Thursday, presumably. Because it's also the night that Jesus got captured, and then tomorrow, which would be Good Friday, that's when he died. My goodness, a lot happened in 24 hours, didn't it? Unless they had an early dinner, that's always possible. Anyway, I mean, listen, I really could make an entire video as to how my religion makes absolutely no sense, but now's not the time or place for that. Right now, I'll just simply say, I hope you like this video. If you did, like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video for all you guys watching. Joe for the Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday. And remember, if you guys want to talk, Jed Moser will be here to let you know. Always have your back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.